Solis, a Mexican fighter now fighting out of Texas, who is a very tough man with a big height advantage over Scotty Olson. But to take a look at Scotty Olson, Wally Matthews has a look.
In stature, he's a toy bulldog, but in the ring, Scotty Olson is as tenacious as a pit bull. This 5'3", 112-pounder has knocked out 12 straight opponents, including 4 this year alone. In January, he softened up Jose Manuel Diaz with a body attack and dropped him with a right hand behind the ear in round 4. Then in February, Martin Llovera fell from a left hook in round 1. A second-round combination set Llovera up for this right hand and short left uppercut. Llovera looks for help and gets it from referee Toby Gibson. And in his most recent fight, the power of Scotty Olson was evident in this left hook that stopped Eliseo Gomez in the first round. Bulldog Scotty Olson, a little man with a big punch.
And he's set to exhibit that big punch, but in front of this crowd in Shelby and to all of you. Let's go into Michael Buffer in the center of the ring for our introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Big Sky Country, welcome to Shelby, Montana. Tonight, Top Rank Incorporated and the undefeated King of Beer, Budweiser, present professional boxing for your entertainment. These bouts tonight are all sanctioned by the Montana Board of Athletics. And now let's get things started with 10 rounds in the flyweight division. The referee for this first bout is Kevin McCarl. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks with white trim, he weighs an even 113 pounds. From Alice, Texas, his professional record, 22 victories with 16 KOs against 7 defeats. Let's welcome Ramon Solis. And his opponent fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the red trunks with white letters, he weighs an even 112 pounds. A native of Edmonton, Canada, now training and fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada. This 1988 member of the Canadian Olympic team is now ranked number 8 in the world by the WBO. Undefeated as a professional, 14-0, and his last 12 victories are by knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, Scotty Bulldog Olson.
And the rules here in the state of Montana, similar to the ones in Nevada. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. The standing 8 count is in effect. Only the referee can stop the fight. There's a 10-point must scoring system. 3 judges only score the fight, and the fighter can be saved by the bell only in the final round.
And there is Ramon Solis, a man who brings a height advantage in over this man, Scotty Olson. They call him the Bulldog, and if you have never seen him box here on ESPN, you'll see why he has that nickname, a tenacious performer.
Well, he's already broken his promise to us today. He said we would probably not see any left jabs, and he started the fight with one.
Yeah, he said that he would not jab too much, maybe, because he thought Solis's height advantage would be a problem for him. The knockout ratio shows you the power of Scotty Olson.
Actually, except for his first 2 fights, both of which went the distance, Olson has stopped every single one of his opponents.
And at that time, back at the beginning of his career, he had some hand problems, and since then those problems have been corrected.
Well, it's pretty obvious what his task is in this fight. He's facing a man with a height and reach advantage. He's got to work his way inside. He likes to work the body, and it seems like Solis might be open to a body attack because taller fighters in this weight class normally are.
Solis landed there. Good right to the head of Scotty Olson a moment ago.
And there was a nice counter right.
And indeed, Olson, whoa, we've got some cord in the ring there, and they're going to pull it out. Could be a safety hazard for the boxers. Now we're all set to go again.
I bet you there wasn't much of that electrical cord in the ring for the Dempsey-Gibbons fight.
No. There weren't enough people here to put it in the ring, I don't think.
Was that on pay-per-view?
Wow! A big right hand by Scotty Olson sent Solis down. Scotty said he would be accurate with his punches. He was not kidding.
He was right on the mark with that one, and there are not too many 112-pounders who have that kind of punching power.
And over a minute left to go in round 1, so Ramon Solis, who has only lost 1 fight in less than a distance, and that was a TKO in 5 because of a cut. He's never been knocked out as a pro. I hardly got to that information before
Right,
Scotty
get
Olson
it in
nailed
while you
him.
can. Now watch the poise of Scotty Olson. You notice that he knows his man is hurt, but he's not going wild for the knockout. He's digging his shots to the body, hoping to hit him once more cleanly.
Under a minute left to go. Ramon Solis has been rocked and sent down with the right hand. Olson now unleashing some power shots. Scotty Olson's become so much better, Wally, at defensive maneuvers.
He really has, because now he knows how to duck underneath punches. He now uses his lack of height as an advantage, Al. He actually uses it to get lower against taller opponents. It's very difficult for guys like Solis to punch down at him.
You know, it's easy to wax enthusiastic about young fighters, but I think Scotty Olson might be one of the most powerful men at this weight that there is.
Of course, this division not really known for big punchers. I think the fight with him and Carbajal, oh, he just got tagged with a right uppercut Olson did.
Nice uppercut by Solis. He and Carbajal will make quite a matchup if it ever comes about. Round one is in the record book, and the first round of professional boxing in 68 years here in Shelby is a pretty wild one. Dick Luna leaning in to talk to Solis. There'll probably be a mixture of English and Spanish in that corner.
Spanglish.
Spanglish, there you go.
And here's the knockdown punch, and it's just a perfect counter right hand. You'll see Olson makes a little dip, comes right over the shoulder of Solis with the right hand. You see it from another angle here. You'll see he makes a little dip to his left and then bang. Perfect punch.
And let's give Solis some credit for getting up, Wally, and lasting through that round.
Actually, he fought rather well through the rest of the round, and here's the uppercut, which kind of came from Great Falls and still caught the chin of Scotty Olson.
Well, you know your geography already here, don't you? After only
It's been a long drive.
Yeah, that's true. Ramon Solis, as you look in at him, this 24-year-old, told us today that he really feels he has an excellent chance to win this fight. He didn't come here just to be an opponent to Scotty Olson, but he knows now the power that Olson has. An interesting stat as we head into round two, only 6 jabs thrown by Scotty Olson.
And that's what Scotty told us his game plan would be, not to be to jab very much, but to try to work his way inside. And that's really what he did after a few opening jabs, which I think he was just using to find his distance.
What, you know, those punch profile statistics choke me up.
They have a similar effect on me.
So good. We're into round two. Scotty Olson in the red, Ramon Solis in the black. And if you are just joining us, you missed some fireworks. Right hands like that one sent Solis down in the first round.
And Olson is just not giving Solis any time to get set. He's on his chest constantly. You notice that as soon as they break, he's right on top of him again. Constant pressure from Scotty Olson.
Again, the uppercut by Solis. And, you know, he felt that he could land that punch and also land a straight right hand against Olson.
Well, he has been very effective with punches coming up from underneath.
Good right by Olson, and Solis stays in there and punches. Solis tried an uppercut and got nailed with an overhand right.
That's an indication that Olson is able to make the adjustment when he sees that he's getting hit with a certain punch. He's already learned how to counter it in this fight.
We are in round two, about halfway through, and it's been a wild affair. It's a small ring. Looks like it'll be about 16 to 18 feet in there.
And that certainly favors Scotty Olson with his style of fighting. One thing I have to say about Solis, he seems to be falling into Olson's kind of fight. He's not jabbing, not using the ring at all, what little there is of it.
It's a very good point, Wally, and he made it very clear he didn't want to lay on the inside with Olson, and that's precisely what he's doing. And much of this bout now being fought for Solis with his back against the ropes, also something he doesn't want.
And again, you see Olson right on top of Solis. And there's that right hand again. But all this mauling on the inside has got to work against Solis because it appears that Olson is a stronger fighter physically.
Big left hook by Scotty Olson. He is digging those shots to the head and the body. Solis fires back, but mostly being blocked by Olson. We've got under a half minute left to go in round two.
And I really am mystified as to why Solis has chosen to fight this kind of a fight unless there's really nothing else that he can do right now.
And it would appear he's choosing to do so, not taking a step back and trying to jab. We showed the number of jabs for Olson. It will be interesting to see how many jabs Solis has thrown. Only 2 this round, we're told. Well, let's see if that changes in round 3. come out, the undefeated flyweight, against Ramon Solis, 24-year-old, now fighting out of Alice, Texas, formerly from California. He comes in with a 22-7 record, 16 KOs, so he's got the power as well as Olson. Round 2, look at that, Olson with an edge and being economical, but he told us, very accurate.
Right, landing a high percentage of punches. Not really a big difference in punches landed in terms of the numbers, but you notice that Solis missing almost 3/4 of his punches. And that you have to put down to the defensive skills of Olson, because the fight is being fought in close.
And what about your scoring, Wally?
Well, I gave Olson obviously a 2-point round in the first round for the knockdown, a 1-point round in round 2.
Olson building up a margin. Solis going downstairs. Round 3, it's scheduled for 10.
And Solis actually put together a good series of punches there, and for a second, Scotty Olson was at a standstill.
Well, we've wondered what would happen if you could back Scotty Olson up and about. No one's been able to do it yet, and Solis attempting it. Solis throwing good combinations and landing fairly well.
I get the feeling, though, that Olson is just kind of biding his time and looking to land a power punch. I don't feel that he's confused in here. I just think that he's waiting to see if he can get another clean shot in.
Also, Scotty Olson has had so few fights in which he's gotten any rounds out of his opponent. Knocked out Eliseo Gomez and won his last time out. Prior to that, did get 7 rounds against Luis Rubio, but has never gone past 7. That's been as far as he's had to go.
Well, I think he'll be quite happy if he never does go past 7.
That's true.
I mean, his style of fighting is completely geared to the early knockout. It's a nice double right hand to the body and head by Olson.
They wanted very badly for Ramon Solis' reach advantage to be a factor in this bout, and so far it has not. As we head to the last portion of round 3.
The only place where the reach may be a factor is that, and there's Olson working above and below the arms of Solis, is that Solis' arms are so long that Scotty Olson's having trouble hitting him to the body in this round.
Boy, when Olson hit with a good uppercut, but when he cranks up that left hook, it scares you even when it misses.
He's almost like a pint-sized Mike Tyson or maybe a smaller Jeff Fennick.
Very good. I think those are both good analogies. So round 3 winds to a conclusion, and even though Scotty Olson may be winning, Ramon Solis more than competitive.
And here's a nice combination by Olson, an unusual combination, a right over the top, and then he comes back with a right uppercut.
We zoom into round 4 here in Shelby, Montana, where Scotty Olson of the Red Trunks is battering Ramon Solis. Boy, we talked about the fact that it's been an inside fight. Wally, how about this statistic? Only 6 jabs landed in this entire bout by both men combined. And there was the 7th.
Scotty told us he would not jab very much, but I really am surprised that Solis is not trying to jab more, just to keep some of the pressure off.
Oh, and that was his plan. Solis said, I am going to jab.
There you can see not a tremendous edge for Olson, only 20 punches in 3 rounds, but I think we'd have to agree that all the heavy shots have come from Olson.
You know what's interesting about that statistic? Olson landing 58%. Well, what did he tell us today? I'm gonna throw between 30 and 40 punches a round and land most of them.
Actually, he said he was going to land all of them, which I thought was kind of a bit much to aspire.
A little boastful, but why not? At least he's landing 58%, which is a terrific percentage.
You know, one thing that we should watch is that the left eye of Scotty Olson looks like it might be a little scraped in the corner. In fact, it looked like it may have happened late in the 3rd round because he went back to his corner blinking his eye.
So he's throwing but not landing. Lands a good body shot there against Olson. And again, Solis just laying in there with Olson, not jabbing and not keeping him on the outside. Should mention that Scotty Olson was going to box in April here on Top Rank Boxing. He had a very bad infection and couldn't fly to come to Bismarck because the equilibrium in his ear would have been off.
Right, and in fact, he told us today that he's not completely over that condition yet. He says that he thinks he was healthy enough to fight tonight, but he still says he gets some ringing in his ears, and it does bother him somewhat.
Olson Olson pushing Solis off. And boy, doesn't that look like a miniature Mike Tyson. Good right hand again by Olson. He's a rugged boxer. And Wally, don't you get the feeling that every time out Olson perfects this style that much more?
Yes, I do. I think that this is probably the best I've seen him defensively, and he seems very, very patient in there, which is something I don't think he was earlier in his career.
And with a half minute left to go around 4, that right hand gets in again by Olson. Solis showing his toughness and his busyness, but just can't contend so far with the power of Olson. And the defense. Scotty Olson blocking much of what Solis is throwing, although that right hand got in. So in round 4, it is much of what we saw in the first 3 rounds. An aggressive Scotty Olson, but Ramon Solis in there doing more than trying.
Rare defensive lapse here by Scotty Olson. That punch came from left field and it caught him pretty solidly on the head.
And we peek into round 5 as we head toward the halfway point of this 10-rounder. They are flyweights. Scotty Olson in the red trunks, undefeated. The former Canada Olympic fighter. Canadian Olympic. You know, he was for Canada in the Olympics.
Yes, he was. From
you know what I mean.
That land just north of where we are now.
And boy, look at the jabs and how few there have been.
68 jabs by Solis, but only 3 landed. And I think that we can put most of that on the up and down motion of Scotty Olson.
He has been a wizard defensively. In the Olympics, Scotty Olson ended up losing to Michael Carbajal. And, of course, that is part of the allure of a rematch that they might have as professionals, though Carbajal would have to step up in weight, and this is the kind of power Michael Carbajal would have to face.
Well, you know, Carbajal is not unlike Solis in terms of body build. He's a taller flyweight. He's got long arms, but he's certainly a much better fighter than Solis and a harder puncher. So you know that would be an intriguing matchup.
The styles are just perfect. Right here, Solis has been very busy and has thrown a lot of punches, landed his share, but has not been able to push Olson back. He's cuffed Olson with the right hand. Scotty coming with the short left hook.
You know, I wonder if some of the intensity has gone out of Olson in the past round or 2. He does not seem to be attacking with the same ferocity that he was at the beginning of the fight.
He just ripped the left hook to the body, but yes, the punches have not been with quite as much intensity and not as many of them.
Not as many more. You know, it seems that he's still putting as much power into single punches, but he doesn't seem to be throwing as many combinations.
I'm sure they won't like that. There's a good jab by Olson.
And you notice there's more distance between them now. In the first 3 rounds, they were constantly head-to-head, and they're not anymore.
There's the right to the body blocked by Olson. His defense is wonderful. In this round, Solis has been the more active of the 2, as he has been in many of the others. And in this round, because Olson is missing, Solis might be doing okay, although so many of those punches blocked by Olson.
But there is a little bit more movement from Solis, just subtle movement left to right and a step back maybe that's, I think, is throwing Olson a little bit out of his rhythm.
Enough to make Olson miss more than he has in the past. Just under a half minute left to go here in round 5. It's scheduled for 10. We are approaching the halfway point in this match. Imagine with Solis went down in the first round, and in the last several has continued to take a battering from Olson. But is there a sliver of hope for Solis? Is Olson slowing down, as Wally might have suggested? Good uppercut by Solis punctuates what for him could well be his best round of the fight. We'll be back. Of Montana now plays for the Milwaukee Bucks. Larry Kistoliak, who was at Montana in 1986. He's had 5 years with the Bucks, and he is a heck of a power forward. Has been rehabilitating himself after an injury, and got back in the playoffs this year, and will do a good job next year. Here is Scotty Olson taking from Solis.
Speaking of a good job, Solis had a very, very good 5th round.
And we head into round 6 with Scotty Olson on the attack as always, trying probably to make amends for that 5th round. But Solis fired up, going after him.
There's that uppercut again, Al. That right uppercut snuck in by Solis, and there's some blood coming from the nose now of Olson. In fact, a lot of blood.
Again, the uppercut by Solis and the right hand. Well, it has been a bad month for favorites, hasn't it?
It sure has.
A lot of upsets. Scotty Olson staggering back. We assumed that was not from a punch, but look, another uppercut by Solis and an overhand right. Another one. Olson is hard.
Way down. the turn that this bout has taken.
Scotty Olson is rocked by right hands. He throws a right, but he is holding on. Ramon Solis here in the 6th has found uppercuts to right hands, but Olson is tired and hurt.
He's going to have a tough time making it through the last 2 minutes of this round.
A big uppercut by Solis. Olson's legs look all but gone. He is rocked, ready to go down. A right hand by Olson, but he's stumbling all over the place.
I wonder, and not to make excuses for Scotty Olson, but the inner ear infection, his balance looks absolutely awful.
Very good point. He has been rocked with punches, but that could have some impact as well. And Ramon Solis, who was knocked down in the first round, has righted the ship. Solis looks tired right now, Wally.
I'll tell you what, Olson's legs are very shaky, and he does not seem to be able to walk forward in a straight line.
And because that's his style, all he can do is come forward. He can't go box, and he's not doing it. He's taking punishment from Solis. Here in round 6, it has been all Ramon Solis.
What a miraculous turnaround.
And ironically, there's been no actual knockdown here.
It seemed for sure that the first time Olson went down, it was as a result of a punch.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get to see that at the end of the round. But Olson's left eye now is almost closed. He's bleeding from the nose. He looks like he's taking a battering for 6 rounds.
The big problem for him may be that left eye. It is almost completely closed. Big hook by Olson. And that's the point here. Even at this point, Olson is dangerous. And he hurts Solis with under a half minute left to go in the 6th round. Scotty Olson fighting for, temporarily anyway, his place in contention in boxing. Because a loss here would set him back dramatically. Remaining seconds of round 6, by far the toughest round Scotty Olson has ever had in his professional career.
And it's really hard to believe that with Olson on the canvas at least twice this round, that neither one of them would score a knockdown.
No knockdowns were called, but as we peek into Scotty Olson's corner, let's listen to Richie Sandoval.
Don't get careless anymore, man. You can't get careless. You make him miss, and then you come back with some, all right? You make him miss, and you come back with some. All right?
And here's where Olson originally got hurt. You notice that Solis putting his hands together better. It didn't seem like a tremendous punch. It kind of hit him in the top of the head. But there you see that Scotty Olson no longer can keep his feet under him. That looks like a knockdown. We'll see it again. Here's the punch, and it kind of lands above the left ear. The left was just grazing, but there goes Olson.
I think because Olson held on is why they didn't call it a knockdown, Wally, although you can make the case for it.
Well, there's no disputing that he was certainly hurt by the punch.
Look at that left eye of Scotty Olson. We come out for round 7, and Scotty Olson comes out bombing, partially out of desperation for perhaps. This young man who is undefeated.
Well, I would think he should be desperate at this point. I mean, I'm sure he's only seeing out of his right eye.
Wow, look at round 6.
Wow, that's clearly the most one-sided round of the fight.
Ironically, Olson still landed at a good percentage. Just didn't throw enough. Big right by Olson.
Now, he's just got to let it all go this round.
He might very well need a knockout because of that eye. Now, remember, Olson's probably still ahead in this bout for sure, but that last round was a tough one for him. Although certainly you would think that last round, despite no knockdown being called, would have been a 2-point round for Solis.
Well, that's the way I scored it. You know, sometimes a lot of judges don't like to score 2-point rounds unless there's a knockdown. But I'll tell you what, Olson was close to being knocked out.
Yeah, I normally don't either, but in that case, if I was sitting here in your chair scoring, I would have given it a 2-point round for Solis, and it is close. Yeah,
because you see that Olson, I thought, dominated the first 4, but in the past 2, Solis has turned the bout around and certainly is well within range of winning it.
And you know, the key weapon here has been that uppercut by Solis. He really changed things with that punch in the 5th round and then, of course, in the 6th.
Well, you know what? It appeared that Olson never really recovered from the uppercut that Solis landed right in the final seconds of round 5.
And you pointed out in round 5, Wally, and it turned out to be prophetic, that Olson was slowing down in that round.
You know, it's tough to figure out if maybe he thought that the bout was well in hand and that he wanted to go a few rounds, or if maybe he's getting tired. But in any case, the bout certainly took a perceptible turn in round 5.
Solis was down in the first round, took a lot of punishment over the first 3 or 4, but then in the 5th, as we said, started to turn things around and had a huge round in round 6. Solis landing a lot to the body. And there's that uppercut again. And the left eye of Scotty Olson is all but shut. They will have a decision to make here with 3 rounds left. The ring doctor will have to make a decision about that eye. I've certainly seen bouts stopped with an eye that bad.
Oh, absolutely. I've seen bouts stopped with eyes not that bad. In fact, that's as bad as the eye that stopped Joe Frazier from going out in Manila for round 15. Against Ali.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, this is just as bad. Under a half minute left to go here in round 7. It's been a remarkable comeback for Ramon Solis and the Black Trunks, and it pretty much has continued here in the 7th. Although this one was a little closer. Don't go away. A lot of twists and turns, perhaps, left in this one.
Scotty Olson's got 9 minutes to go with that left eye. And I'll tell you what, it's not going to get any better.
We peek into round 8. It is scheduled for 10, and we would remind you now that Scotty Olson has never been past 7. So in addition to the problem with the left eye, the fact that he was hurt, he is in uncharted waters. Pretty close, huh?
That is razor thin, okay? 1 punch advantage for Solis, and most of those punches landed in the last 3 rounds.
The interesting thing is Scotty Olson is still landing 55% of his punches, but not enough right now.
And as you can see, I've got Solis pulled almost even with Scotty Olson. I've given him the last 3 rounds. The 6th round, I gave him by 2 points.
So this one very close on Wally's card. I would assume on the judge's card. A lot will depend on whether they made that 6th round a 2-point round for Solis. Remember, there was a 2-point round for Olson probably in the first round. Good hook by Solis.
Don't forget, they haven't judged the fight here in a long, long time.
That is a very, well, they have in Montana, but not in Shellfish.
Right.
And coming up, don't forget our main event, Todd Foster, Tom Hanks. A couple of Montanans fighting for the Montana lightweight title. Foster, of course, the man that most of the people here have come to see, former Olympian.
Boy, first Mickey Rourke and now Tom Hanks. What is this with actors getting into boxing?
I don't think it's that Tom Hanks. Although after Bonfire of the Vanities, Tom Hanks may want to get into boxing. We're in the 8th round. Good right by Solis.
Maybe the slowest round of the fight so far.
Yeah, Olson getting in a couple of right hands. Olson still pushing forward. Again, as Wally said, not throwing that many punches and missing that left hook a lot.
And don't forget, he's not seeing out of that left eye anymore, so that left hook is flying blind right now.
You're right. That's the kind of right hand that knocked Solis down in the first round, but he's landed some good ones, and they have not come close to putting Solis down. Ramon, a 24-year-old who told us today, I can win this bout. But ironically, Wally, he's not winning it if he is winning it the way he said he would. He said he would box Olson and stay at long range. Shockingly,
he is actually beating Olson at his own game right now.
Under a half minute left to go in round 8. It is scheduled for 10. And right now, it's looking pretty close to us. The left eye of Scotty Olson just completely closed. He cannot see anything out of that eye, I'm sure. The final seconds of round 8, a fairly close round, and all these rounds now quite pivotal in a potential decision.
Scotty Olson trying to work his way through the arms of Solis. Couldn't get it done over the top. Comes up the middle from underneath.
And round 9, Solis does what he's been doing at the beginning of most rounds, digging left hooks to the body. Ramon Solis in the black trunks. Scotty Olson in the red. And here's what the 8th round looked like in terms of punches.
And Solis, a slight edge there in punches landed, but I actually gave the round to Olson because he landed a couple of good heavy right hands, which I thought were effective, especially one just before the bell.
And certainly a close round to be sure. We're here in the 9th. Olson has never been past 7, as I mentioned.
One thing we should mention about Solis, though, he made a decision at one point in this fight that he would go toe-to-toe with Scotty Olson, and he's fought him on even terms after that first round knockdown.
He certainly has, and in the 6th, as we said, had Olson in some trouble. That's the right hand the crowd got excited about, but Solis turned away. Solis has been 10 round on numerous occasions, so for him it's not new territory. And remember back to that first round when Olson nailed Solis with a big right and had him down, couldn't keep him out. There's a good right hand by Olson. He is starting to find the range again here in the ninth.
Well, this is the way he fought the early rounds of the fight, Al, right in Solis' chest, pushing him back and hitting him. And he's much more effective when he fights like this than when he takes that half step backwards.
Halfway through the ninth round, certainly a sterner test than Scotty Olson thought he might get. They knew Solis was a good boxer, but they did not expect this kind of a challenge. Olson ripping shots to the body and the head. Scotty Olson came in here 14-0 with 12 KOs, 12 straight knockouts. Solis came in with a 22-7 record.
One thing we should mention about Scotty Olson now, you know, we've talked about his defense, which was much improved early in the fight, and his punching power, which has been good throughout. But a fighter who fights this style usually does not have a very long career. This is a very, very taxing style.
Yeah, it really is, but ironically, because of the improving defense, you get the feeling Scotty Olson might have been avoided this kind of a punishment early in his career, but not so tonight. Ramon Solis has been hitting him a lot. Just about a half minute left to go here in round 9, and we'll keep things right here in between the 9th and 10th rounds. We'll be visiting Scotty Olson's corner. Olson takes another right hand by Solis, although this has been a round in which Olson's been very aggressive, Wally.
It's been a good round for Olson, but I'll tell you, if I was Solis, I'd be throwing right hands like crazy because you know Scotty Olson is not going to see them.
And I think I'd go back to those uppercuts, which at this point, Solis has abandoned. That'll do it for round 9. And as we peek into the corner of Scotty Olson, Richie Sandoval will do the talking.
Drink, swallow that. Get the bucket. Scott,
Big deep breath.
this is the last round. You got it won so far. No surprises, okay? Don't get careless. All right? Don't get careless. This fight, you got it won, but don't get careless, because that's what he's looking for. A sweet, a lucky punch. All right?
Smother him with aggressive defense.
Here, spit it out right here. Last round.
Block before you counter.
It's the last round now, Scott, right?
Block before you counter, or if he misses, then take advantage of it. Don't punch while
I'm winning the fight. Exactly. I don't have to kill myself.
And here you see Solis trying to work the body of Olson. Did land, but here comes the short left hook right over the top.
Very nice compact punch by Olson. You look at that left eye. I don't think I've seen a doctor visit the corner to even look at that eye. It's really
That's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, that is surprising. We're in round 10. It is going the distance or close to that in any case. Scotty Olson in the red trunks, Ramon Solis in the black. And if you've seen Top Rank Boxing in the last 6 or 7 months, you've seen Scotty Olson probably, and you've seen him be the aggressor and be very successful. Tonight, having a tough time.
There you see again a razor-thin edge for Scotty Olson through 9 rounds. So you know that this fight should be being judged closely.
Although you got Richie Sandoval was basically telling him in the corner, you have it, just don't make big mistakes. Well, I don't know that this issue isn't in doubt.
Actually, I've got Olson ahead comfortably now with the last 2 rounds. And there it is. You see, I've got him by 3 points. I think he's weathered the storm that he went through in the middle rounds. I'll tell you, if he wins this, they're going to call it a character builder, but there's got to be an easier way.
He was in desperate trouble in the 6th round. He has come back to actually have several pretty good rounds. They've been very close rounds, though.
But it does say something important about him now that he's been able to fight so well with the handicap of that closed left eye.
It says a lot. I mean, he cannot see, I'm sure, out of that eye. Solis has not helped himself. He should be moving to the right and throwing the right hand. He hasn't done that as much as he should.
I just get the impression that Scotty Olson refuses to be beaten in this fight. I mean, if there was any time when he could have ducked out, it was in that 6th round.
He was hurt badly. And instead, here he is, living up to his nickname, the Bulldog, and coming after Ramon Solis. And of course, Solis showed tremendous toughness in round 1. He was hit with a huge right hand, got up and weathered the onslaught by Olson. There's the uppercut by Solis. Wally, why hasn't he thrown that punch more in the last couple of rounds?
I've been mystified watching fighters. You've watched them even longer than I have, and sometimes you can never understand why a fighter will go away from something that's working so well.
And in this case, Solis has certainly done that. Under a minute left to go here in round 10. It's been an action flyweight match with a lot of twists and turns, and there's Solis going for that uppercut again and getting it in. Scotty Olson with a very badly swollen left eye, but it has not caused this fight to be stopped, primarily because nobody has bothered to look at it in between corners, at least no ring doctor has.
It wasn't really even discussed among Scotty Olson's corner men, the possibility of him not continuing. Right now, Olson's very tired. I think he's just kind of leaning on Solis, waiting to hear that final bell.
And if, in fact, things go the way he believes they will, he'll probably come out with a decision win. But, boy, it won't be an easy one for Scotty Olson, and there's no certainty that he will get the win. They go 10 of the toughest rounds. If that young Scotty Olson will see this crowd loves it, and why not give Ramon Solis straight A's for not only for effort, but for the fact that he extended Scotty Olson a lot farther than anyone thought he might.
Extended him, and there were points in the fight where I was almost certain that he would win it.
In round 6, it was remarkable that this young man, the 23-year-old from Canada, now living in Las Vegas, the former Olympian, undefeated, he had all that on the line, and in round 6 came back.
And we take a look at Ramon Solis here. There's not a mark on his face to show any of the punishment that he took.
And he did take some punishment. On the other hand, Scotty Olson looks like he's been through a meat grinder. Here's the total numbers. Oh.
Wow.
Now, the interesting thing here, and here is a very important point to be made. Most of Solis' punches were landed in a 3 or 4 round period. That's why if this decision is 4 or 5 points for Olson, don't feel like the judges robbed Solis, because there were a lot of rounds that Solis didn't win. Let's go to Michael Buffer and find out just what the judges do have to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, before I give the scoring, let's have a round of applause for these two young men. They gave it all they had. Let's hear it for them. And now we go to the scorecards. Ken Camp scores the bout 98-92. Dean Kramaric scores it 98-92. And Joe Antonetti scores it 94-91 for the winner by unanimous decision. Still undefeated, Scotty Bulldog Olson.
Well, if 98-92 seems a little excessive, 94-91 seems about right. Scotty Olson, he's a winner, and Wally Matthews have a lot to say to him when we come back. Hey, the last score was not 94-91, 97-91, a lopsided win, Wally.
Well, Scotty, in spite of the scorecards, which had you a clear winner, it appeared to be a very, very tough fight for you. Was it your impression at the end of the fight that it was close and that you might not get the decision?
Well, I asked in my corner, how the fight is going, because it's hard to tell once you are in there how it exactly is. But I know I got hit with a couple good uppercuts, and now I can have something to look and to correct my mistakes, a film to watch, what Scotty Olson did wrong. A lot of my fights have gone so quick that I haven't had time to review it.
Now, the fight took a turn in the 5th round and then took a major turn in the 6th round when you appeared to be badly hurt. How badly were you hurt in that 6th round?
Well, I have very strong legs, and I was clear and focused. It's just sometimes you get caught and you don't see the shot, and your legs just kind of wobble for a little bit. And then I got back to the corner, and I was composed and went out better for the next round.
Scotty, real quick, the eye injury, was there any thought in your corner that you might not be able to go on?
Oh, heck no. You can take both of my eyes. As a matter of fact, I think Rocky Marciano, my idol, stopped Jersey Joe Walcott in the 13th round with his eye just like this, so I consider it a badge of honor.
All right, Scotty Olson with a Rocky-esque performance here tonight. Now back to Al.
That's why they call Scotty Olson a throwback. He is just that. We'll have lots of boxing news when we come back. Don't you dare go away.